Good evening, class. It's Professor Puente, and today we have object lecture of the night. It's going to be me. So we had a little bit of mix-up, so I wasn't able to get one today, but that's okay. You know, I can kind of move on and go on a lecture myself, right? Um, Objective 17: Understanding critical thinking. So, chapter introduction. Critical thinking is something that is incredibly important in what we do. It's a little bit historic times right now because of what's going on with our new administration. And I'll tell you, what you're seeing is that the word facts are being thrown around very easily. You need to be the guardians of the word facts. I'm talking about if someone just puts in something that looks semi like an opinion in a joke, you should correct them and say that's probably not a fact. More than now, more than ever, we need this. More than ever. Okay? You hear someone use the word fact, it better be a fact. Like 2 + 2 is 4. If not, you can respectfully correct them and say, I'm sorry, I have Professor Puente's class, and I was told that we're the guardians of facts, of the word facts. And I have to let you know, it's an opinion. A very good one, but it's still an opinion. So why is that important? Because critical thinking, it's all about that. It's about putting things that are actually have truth in them and being able to use them. But if your premises are not good and they're not valid, you're not going to be able to reason it correctly, right? Thought and thinking are natural, sometimes automatic mental processes that include reasoning, remembering, imagining, reflecting, for example. Critical thinking requires more analysis, evaluation, discipline, and rigor. Discipline is the word, okay? And you'll see what your class is talking about. I mean, your course is talking about. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is the thoughtful, deliberate process of deciding whether you should accept, reject, or reserve judgment about a particular idea. The higher you go in the degree structure, you guys are all working towards either getting an associate's or a bachelor's, okay? Eventually, you're working towards getting something more. But the higher you go in this structure, the word discipline, and especially reject of an idea, comes more and more and more. This is why me trying to get a doctoral degree, I will have to defend my ideas and I will be rejected. And how do people reject it? Through critical thinking, okay? Although the word critical can mean to find fault or criticize, critical thinking is not a negative word. It really isn't. It just means you're cutting away the fat. You're absolutely cutting away the fat. Some people may say it just sounds annoying. You have to be specific. So you ask a question, you identify alternatives, you challenge the assumptions, and you examine a claim or argument. And that all goes around a word called an argument. And this is what's great about this part 3. You're going to learn how to come up with an argument. And an argument not in the sense that you and your boyfriend or girlfriend got in a fight. No, an argument in the sense that you have a legit claim. Okay, so people will do that to you, especially in the business world. You better have a real good claim. If not, people just will not believe you. This is more than just you trying to get your point across. A claim is a statement that someone says or writes about a topic. A claim is real simple. Look, I'm going to say this, okay? There has been a terrorist attack in this location. If you say that to someone, these people are going to ask you, where is this terrorist attack? And how did you get this idea? So they can believe it. That's going to be the correct examination of an argument from the claim. What is an issue? In general terms, an issue is any controversial subject that you discuss, dispute, or review. When you have an argument and you say something that is incorrect, I'm going to give you a good example too. Last semester, I don't know if some of you guys got a text that we had an issue on a Lone Star campus that had an evacuation at night. A lot of the people started to send out tweets to say that it was a shooter. It was a night sometime in the weekday. It was not a shooter. That was an issue because people started to leave the place in panic. It was just a gas leak. Okay. So when people put a claim that yes, there's a shooter, we need to challenge and say, where's the shooter at? Please let me know because I need to leave. But I also need to make sure you're right. Okay. That's the rejection. The rejection is not bad. It's just you're being skeptical towards the truth because that's how you get to truth. Hence, you clear up all the issues. What is an argument? An argument is a set of one or more claims that support a particular conclusion. So you have a claim, maybe you have another one and another one, and you put something together that says, yes, this is my argument. Okay. An argument could be as simple as, you know what, the Houston Texans did not have a good season. My claim is, well, we paid a lot of money for a quarterback. My other claim is, well, another Texas team kind of went further than us. And another claim is, and I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't win the Super Bowl. So those are three claims that create an argument. And my argument is that we did not have a good season. See, these claims are sometimes called premises. So to claim one or premise one, we paid a lot for a quarterback. 2, we didn't do as well as the other Texas team. 3, we just didn't end up winning the Super Bowl. So those 3 create a conclusion, which is the argument. I think some of you guys may have seen me use that actually earlier this week. Now we talk about facts. Typically, a fact is a claim that is concerned to be true. The word true, it's very, very easy to distort. Because remember, there is perception. Some people, you believe that dress is blue and black, but I swear it's white and gold. That's what Dad taught us, right? An opinion is a claim that someone believes is true. See, I believe is more common. I believe the Texans did not do well. Okay. It's hard to say that it was a fact because it's such a broad, opinionated situation. So if you can collect data about analysis of the claim, it is said to be a factual matter. And that is important. Okay. So let's go to the questions. Okay. So yes, I hear you. What's going on in lecture? Critical thinking involves reasoning and truth. That's kind of like being a lawyer. Johan, that's the definition of being a lawyer. Because lawyers have to be skeptical. Remember, they are exercising law. So when you exercise law and you put someone in jail for years and years, you better be right, right? We're thinking critically when we rely on reason rather than emotion. Yes, Betty, absolutely. I'm a big fan of reason. Now, I gotta tell you, Betty, there's another group called existentialists that believe that emotion is even better than reason. So let's not say even that statement would be an opinion, even though I agree with it. So, critical thinking is daily accuracy for most people regarding their jobs. That is correct. Claims are naturally based on perceptions. Carrie, I have to agree. Claims are about perceptions. My philosophy class messed up the meaning of truth for me. Oh, Victoria, I would love to actually know what that would mean. Wow, I'm sorry. Truth is different from perception. Yes. Believe it or not, Harvard, their motto is veritas, which means truth. And remember, for Harvard, it's not just anybody's perception. It's what is it objectively? What is it outside of us, right? Customers sometimes have arguments that our online process is not a proper method. They say this because the last 4 digits of the card number and amount owed to them is not printed receipt. The company does this to protect the purposes of the customer's card information is not disclosed. I mean, I gotta tell you, those are your claims. Those are your actually claims that are saying that, by the way. So your company puts them together and they come up with these premises together and come up with a solution. Listen, I can't put those 4 digits because it could hinder you. So I'm sorry, Selena. Hopefully no one has done that for you. What criteria can you use to differentiate between a fact and an opinion? Joyce, that's a real good question. I really think that facts are rare. I really, absolutely. You have to go pretty much to math to actually understand what a fact is. 2 + 2 is always 4. Okay, that's an easy, provable statement. Okay, the rest has to be a little bit of a law, like law of gravity. that is a fact. Okay. Facts should be rare, because if you take them as facts, that means that anything outside of it you can't question. Okay. So more than likely opinions will be out there, and they will outdo facts by a lot. That doesn't mean the opinion is wrong. Please understand that. Just understand that it can never be 100% proved. That's all that means. And that's what scientific method is about. Okay. So let's keep going. Good questions, good setup. I really like what you guys have to say there. This was a really important objective. And we go to 18, which is my favorite, absolutely objective, because it's my favorite number. And that's a fact. See, that's when you should tell me, no, Professor Puente, it can never be a fact. Right? Identify the arguments. To identify arguments that others make, ask yourself the following question. What is the other person trying to communicate, illustrate, prove? Let me tell you, that is actually very hard to gather and to understand what the other person is trying to tell you. You should kind of pay attention more. I thought I knew what people were talking to me about until I had to pay further more attention. Speakers often use premise or conclusions, a conclusion indicated as signals to catch your attention. Words such as because, since, assuming, that, for, as, similar. Assuming that is what the actual word is. Phrases including as a result, that means, as you can see, are examples of conclusion indicators. That is very true. In another word, another aspect, that's called causation. So you're saying equals. So you say because of equals. So you're kind of inferring a fact there. So you got to be careful on that, on those argument indicators, because if you're going to put a conclusion together, you got to finish it off. Differentiate between an argument and an assertion. Important. An assertion is a simple statement that does not include supporting evidence. Arguments is all about evidence. That's exactly the way the police will look at it, exactly the way a chemist would look at it, exactly the way the FBI will look at it, because you have to put things together. It's called evidential. Okay. An assertion is something you just can't prove. Some people may argue that the word that's saying, hey, I believe in angels, okay, is an assertion, because it's going to be hard for you to prove angels. Now, if you want to prove angels, you're going to need to put up a video together. You're going to need to put up maybe some audio together, anything that has to do with the senses to make an argument, right? Deductive reasoning typically takes an argument from a general observation or premise to a specific conclusion. If the premises are true, then you assume the conclusion is valid. This is all now philosophy. Yes, I don't know who said that, but this is true. To be able to go into a deductive reasoning, you're cutting off all this, the entire premise put together to kind of end at a point. Okay, and your figure here kind of gives you an idea of how it works, in this figure 3-4. And it also explains to you inductive reasoning, which means attempts to draw a broad conclusion from specific examples of premises. So it goes the other way. Okay, you go to specific to very broad. Okay, and one of them is saying 5 reasons customers on the Tuscany tour rented motorcycles, provide motorcycles to Tuscan travelers. So it's a little more broad. These two are a major deal. These two are a major deal because most scientists will tell you they prefer this way, the inductive reasoning, because that way you don't end at a one thing that you cannot move out of. So let's go to the class. Oh, I'm sorry, Selena, it's cutting you off. I apologize. You will have the video of this, and there were some misconnections, and I think that has to do a little bit with the weather sometimes, and internet connection. But again, you made it in, and I will give you credit for that. I had no idea of those indicators. Yes, Marlon, they are very important. The ones that you're like, because the way you have your language, the way you speak, you gotta be careful, because you're kind of giving, in some way, hints of facts. And you might not even say it's a fact, but you'll say something that's because of this, that you will hint that fact, and it may not be right. It's like learning a new language. When arguing, you must have evidence. Yes, Johan. And it was great that last week we kind of had this talk. We talked about how we came up with a miscommunication and what didn't happen. But we learned to do that. We learned to pick up this new language and speak correctly. So that was good. When identifying arguments is asking questions a bad idea? No. Victoria, questions are great because questions rarely solution. It's the opposite. It gives you more of a a problem to solve. But the answers is what the questions that we need to kind of be careful for. Always ask questions. That is how you can gather facts versus assertions. Very true. You should give reasons when making assertions. Yes, I do agree with that, Sandra. But sometimes assertions are just, beliefs that you have inside of you. Assertions are okay. Okay, they're okay. Especially, I'll say it. Whenever you go to church, it's okay. It's based on belief. You're supposed to believe. That doesn't mean believe is less than facts. It does not mean that. Please don't believe that. This is all about belief, right? Beliefs are really important. But when you're speaking to someone, especially on a sense that they believe is a fact, don't mislead them. That's all I say. Would tone also be an argument indicator? That is correct, Nubia. I more than agree. My opinion, Nubia, is that yes, tone is an indicator of an argument, of you putting something together. More than anything, class, these are historic times. You should kind of look at what the press is having this major issue with this administration. Major issues, because it's so easy to jump the gun or something that if it's said incorrectly, people believe it. And therefore, the administration should not hint on things that are not true, right? Should the goal be to arrive at a broad idea rather than a specific conclusion? Joyce, you just stipulated what the philosopher Francis Bacon stated. Yes. Gather and go to a broad idea. Go from specific to broad, then broad to specific. That's exactly what they want you to do. Okay. And yes, Nubia, alternative facts. That kind of goes around the same. And those two words have never been placed together until 2 weeks ago. I don't know why. Maybe you can find some evidence of that. Please let me know. That's it. So that's objective 18. Now we go to 19. Assessing credibility. Okay, so assess credibility of an argument. Consider the validity of an argument. A valid argument has a conclusion that logically follows from the premise. If an argument is valid and the premises are true, the conclusions must be true. That's exactly what an argument is. So if the pieces of it are correct, then the conclusions must be correct, right? An argument is valid if it logically follows the premises. Even if one of the premises is false, it is considered sound. That's a little strange to understand. But if you put the A plus B equals C, then you would understand that it's sound, that everything follows through together correctly, okay? And I think that figure 3-6 does a really good job of a sound. Remember, a sound argument. An argument that is not contradictory, okay? Conclusions logically follow from the premises, but it's incorrect, okay? So Rome is a city. That's premise one. Travelers prefer beaches to cities. That means that travelers would rather go to a beach than Rome. Valid, but unsound. And it's saying why. The premises are incorrect. Okay, so something here is not right. Valid argument, but with true premises. Overseas tours are enlightening. Trekking in Tuscany is an overseas tour. That means the trekking in Tuscany tour is enlightening. That is sound. Do you see? All the pieces are true, therefore the conclusion is true. On the first one, not all the pieces were right, so therefore it wasn't sound. Okay, so assess the credibility of the source. And by the way, if this sounds a little confusing to you and you need to go back and rewind or just YouTube this, it's okay. It takes a little bit of time. This is exactly what the LSAT would actually make sure you know. The LSAT, which is the entrance exam of attorneys for you to go to law school. Exactly how you put arguments together. Okay, because for an attorney to speak out of turn, to speak without sound arguments, it's the definition of a sin for them. Okay, so let's see, and that's a fact, which is incorrect because you should be saying no. Professor pointed, that's not a fact. Assess the credibility of the source. Consider the source of the information that you consider as solve problems and make decisions. Okay, so where is this source coming from? Super important. Nowadays in Facebook, When you look at a news article, you're going to pick it up and you're going to assess the credibility of that source. And if you've never heard of this, then you need to question it. Now, it may just be a new source, but you still need to understand where is it coming from. Consider reasons based on authority. This used to be the truth. It is so funny, guys. Number 4, take a picture, because this part of the book is now incorrect. Because if I tell you, consider reasons based on, and I don't want to sound biased, but now if you consider this reasons based on the administration of the United States, I will tell you to, no, you may have to question it. So I don't no longer think authority is a factor. I think you need to, yes, see the authority in it. Like Associated Press, you believe that authority. The Lone Star College, you believe that authority. But no longer is authority now a top consideration for reason alone. You need to even question that. Compare the argument to your background knowledge. Compare claims to your own background. So if you're from somewhere, like I'm, for example, from South America, I was born there, and I compare it to that. Hey, I lived in Texas for a long time. I compare it to that. Maybe you guys should do that too, because you are a collection of beliefs, facts, and experiences, guys. You guys are students, but you also went to church somewhere, or you also went, and became part of the military, or all the experiences, you're a collection of that. So that's where your biases come from. So compare it. Hey, where I'm from is this, but maybe not here. That is correct. All right, guys, let's keep going. Does credibility always involve reputation? Yes, Johan, that's exactly what it is. It's reputation. If you've been lying, people know you're lying, you're pretty much done. Credibility is something that I feel is majorly overlooked in society. I mean, I would say that, but I think nowadays we are all aware that credibility is really important now. I think about 6 months ago, yes, but not now. So your arguments need to be basically logical and true, not one or the other. Need to be basically logical and true. Carrie, yes, that's very true. They need to go through together. That's right. They need to go through together. A plus B plus C equals D. And they have to be true. So what I know about this, Carrie, to answer that question, is that even though if your lie is logical, it cannot be valid. So if your lie was something like, well, the letter D is for Dallas and the letter D is from Denver, and all cities that have D are in Texas, then Denver is in Texas. You see what I mean, Carrie? And that is not correct. Denver is not in Texas. You already threw the whole thing. It was logical that all letter D's were in Texas, but that was a lie. That, you see how that would throw that off? It has to be logical and true. That's right, Carrie. That was a really good one, Carrie. If I trust someone with a good reputation, I feel their word is credible. Their word is credible. That's true. That's the point. Good job, Johan. And I think individuals with authority even argue amongst themselves about what is true and fact. It's true, Joyce. And you want to know something, Joyce? It's about recognition. What do you recognize about? Experts are not always right. Good point. True, Johan, but sometimes, most of the time, I'd say experts know something. I mean, you have to consider that too. That's what I'm asking. I guess the difference between sound and valid. Yes, I understand. Good, Carrie. Because that's taken me a while to understand, Carrie, by the way. The whole logic and truth. And now define truth. Good luck with that. But yeah, that's definitely important. Okay. So the word truth, guys, it's what philosophers go to forever school to find out what it is, right? Consider how to tell. Oh, and this one's going to be exploring weaknesses in an argument, because that's what we do, because we're scholars. When I send you that little icon of people actually sending that, that's how it works. So consider how to make these claims. Give me 1 second. I'm going to. Okay, so then consider how to test the claims and premises. A scientific approach tests ideas and arguments to verify their correctness. Yes. Science is that, by the way, guys. Science is scientific method. In a lot of people's mind, an image of science, you see a little beacon and little chemicals, and that's not necessarily science, guys. Science could be social science, like just getting a survey and seeing how many people have good self-efficacy, okay, and testing it. Anything you measure is science. Anything you defend is science. Anything that you need to question is science, okay? So understand it does not have to be chemistry, physics. It could just be psychology, it could be social science, it could be political science, and those are difficult to understand, okay? You could not know whether it is valid. If you cannot test an assertion, you cannot know whether it is valid. So assertions cannot be science, guys. That's I won't say a fact because I have to check on it, but I'm pretty sure it is, okay? When you're presented with an argument, consider whether and how you can test the claims and premises, okay? Argument is the decline in travel is due to a shift in the world's art style. And then you could kind of go through, you'll go through figure 3-7, but you'll see a little bit on how it goes through. I'll just go through the chapters. I know it's a little longer than I thought, but read through that to understand that part. Evaluate the relevance. A well-crafted argument explains its subject clearly and presents claims that relate to the conclusion. So you could be saying something, and it could be a sound argument. But if it's not relevant on the topic, then it's not necessary. Then you're wasting time. Look for dubious assumptions. What's an assumption? And don't think of the way we've always been told, right? An assumption is a proposition or claim that you take for granted, as though if it were valid. And this happens a lot. Assumptions are things that you swear are real, but they're really not, okay? You want to know what's an actual assumption? Is that fajitas are from Mexico. The way fajitas are made in Texas, they're Tex-Mex. They're not necessarily from Mexico. When you go to Mexico and you ask for fajitas, they'll ask you for the specific type of fajita meat. That's all it is, the type of meat, but not the way. So a chicken fajita, and I'm talking about meat as in beef, okay? A chicken fajita is an oxymoron in Mexico because they would always have to be beef. That's an assumption, right? That this type of food, fajitas, are always from Mexico. Okay, so compare the argument to other data, observations, and ideas. Sometimes an idea, alternative solution is unique and turns out to be creative breakthrough. That's very true. I'll give you a great example. Facebook. It's a very good observation that was super unique, and it just took off. A critical thing compares information to other data and looks in incompatibilities and inconsistencies. It's very true. If it's inconsistent, it just doesn't work. And that's how I'll tell you, you compare things and you come up with unique scenarios and say, hey, that hasn't been used. Then you come up with Facebook. Identify alternative explanations. Keep your eyes open for alternative explanations and rationales. When someone suggests X and causes Y, don't just immediately assume that that statement is true. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. I'm your professor. If I tell you something, you question it. You always question it. But when you question it, you're probably going to find out what I'm trying to say. Okay? Because I'd rather you question me than to kind of take something as fact as I say it. Because then we don't learn anything. More than likely, sometimes I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, let me know. Help us. Because it's not about who is right. It's about what's right. So you let me know, hey, we'll fix that up. This is the truth. We're trying to find truth, guys. As a society, we're finding truth. Truth is not just one thing, one destination. I think that's the word that people kind of overlook. Truth is very difficult to find. But when you find it, it makes breakthroughs. It really does. That's what science and arts and everything's about. So Victoria says, can always be proven wrong. Marlon says, fajitas. Yes, that does sound good. Marlon, I got to say that. You're right, Johan. Some truths aren't, but others can be depending on your culture and environment. There are other contributors. Yes, truth is interchangeable. Now, Johan, what you just said, I don't think truth is interchangeable. There's something called a universal truth. And some people say they're very, very rare. Okay. There's the truth that's relational, meaning that you know it for yourself. Okay. But there's the truth that is everyone knows it. Okay. And it's in itself a theory, by the way. Sometimes some people say it doesn't even exist. And that truth could be as simple as love. Everybody has love. We don't know what love is, but everybody has it. Okay. what love is to everyone is the relational, but it's there. Questioning things evolve the world, really. Yes, Victoria, I truly appreciate it. My friend always says to assume is to, yes, I cannot say that out there, Johan, and I was hoping I didn't have to. I'll have to even put that down. Okay. Questioning things evolve the world, really. Okay. You're right. Okay, well then, Johan, you get the best award for saying such truths and then just ending the class that way. That's it. Any questions you guys have, let me know. That's absolutely one of my best objectives. I love it. Thank you for your comments. I think you guys did wonderful today. I've seen them all. And I think I'm going to give you guys very good high remarks on those who contributed. Again, there will be a quiz. Actually, before we go, I got to do this. Remember, we kind of put together some of the, I want to call leaders of the class, some of you guys, put a good argument together, and I liked it. I absolutely liked it. So we came up with a solution. Out of all the claims, premises, we came up with conclusions and a solution, an alternative and a solution, okay? So what is this? What's going to happen with the quiz, guys? Are you guys going to send me questions? Yes, you're going to send me questions. I expect everyone that participated, which were 10 of you, to send me those questions. If you guys don't send me the questions, we have made the solution among us democratically, even though classes aren't supposed to be democratically, but they are in this situation because I like you guys. Send me those questions, one per objective, okay? After that, all 10 of you got to send it before noon. If all 10 of you send it, then we'll have the next live class. If not all 10 of you send it before noon, then we won't have a live class. I'll just send you guys the video of what I made. It would be kind of a shame because this is actually very nice and I really appreciate it. And that's it. Any questions, guys? Let's see what else. I guess I just have to do the assignments. I don't get nothing. I don't know. Selena, you don't have to do the assignments. You're here with us. I think it was just a connection issue. So no, all you have to do is send in the questions. That's all. And I appreciate you being here. He said you took a credit for it. Yes. How many questions? One per objective. One per objective, guys. Please send your questions. Yes, Betty. I would love for you guys to send the questions because I love this. I love doing this. It's just, I know that we got to put pressure somehow. You know, I'm still a professor here. I don't think she can hear you. Oh, okay. Then we'll text it. Thank you, Victoria. If you don't mind, transcribe it for me. Yeah, please send those so we can have a live class next week. Yes. And realize it's quorum, guys. I mean, you participated. We're supposed to all put together. I think this time you guys will do it. I really think so. And if you guys do, imagine how well we've done, right? He said we have to do one question per each objective. Yes, that's it. That's all, guys. Thank you so much for tonight. You guys have a great, great night. Good talk. I hope you guys learned something that you guys will take on and hopefully if you become President of the United States, you use. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.